What's up? Welcome back to the Metalhead Car Show. This is an exciting video right now because we are both filming on a new camera and we have our mic back in the process. So along with looking better, it should absolutely sound better than a lot of the previous videos. So the next couple videos, we're going to be testing out some mics. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments about it, but that is not why you clicked on this video. So if you've been following along with Metalhead Car Show, you know that the Instagram page has been hacked a while ago and no longer exists. We have started the new one, go check it out if you haven't already, but I want to talk about some of the content I did on the old page. See, one of the things I did to get the identity of the Metalhead Car Show going was I did these beauty shot videos with cool cars. Beauty shots, metal over it, pretty simple concept. So today I want to go over 6 of the coolest cars or coolest experiences I had filming some of these cars whilst I was doing that. So in no real order, let's get right into it. I'm going to be mentioning John Scotti Lamborghini of Montreal a few times on this list. They are gracious enough to let me come in and film multiple cars a few times. They do not sponsor me, but if they want to throw like an Urus my way for a weekend, that'd be cool. But we are starting off with the Lamborghini Veneno. Now, there's some cars I filmed where they had this issue of, despite being a very cool car, there's not really many cool angles. This is one of those cars where it didn't matter which angle you picked, every single angle was cool. Every single angle was so aggressive and so over the top. And for Instagram Reels back then, we had a cap of like 90 seconds. So getting all the shots from that car in a 90-second video is actually difficult. So there's that, along with the fact that there's 8 of these in existence, and I was allowed to just walk into the dealership and start filming it completely unsupervised, was outrageously cool to me. I believe the car was just there on display. It wasn't actually for sale, so I don't really know what it would have cost, but I assume it was an absolute fortune. Next up, in a car that's not a fortune, but the Bricklin SV1. Now this is one of the last couple cars I actually filmed before winter came along and the platform ended up changing and I just stopped doing these beauty shot videos. But I really want to do Bricklin, and they're so hard to find now that somehow doing multiple Lamborghinis was a lot easier than doing a Bricklin. But I ended up finding this guy on Facebook Marketplace who was selling this Bricklin, and I reached out to him just saying, hey, I do these beauty shot videos, I would love to do with a Bricklin. In the process of doing that, I'd love to promote that your car is for sale and try and get a bit more attention. The guy agreed to it, he liked the idea, so we actually met up at a park just outside of Barrhaven in Ottawa to go do this video. Now Bricklins aren't really the most striking car in the world, but they just have so much presence in this kind of really unique, cool way. Like, it's more interesting to look at than a 74 Corvette, but at the same time it's not a Lamborghini Veneno, so it's not that crazy at first, but longer you stare, the more you have to work with. And just because it's a Bricklin, it gave us all the door issues that every single Bricklin's known to have. So like one door worked, and the other one was just struggling for its life to stay up. And I think we actually had a rod holding the door up that was completely out of sight the whole time. But it was just such a cool experience. It was the only car where a handful of people I have worked with and I was associated with in the Ottawa car scene came up to me and asked, how the hell did you get a Bricklin? I filmed one of the rarest Lamborghinis on the entire planet. Nobody gave a crap about that, but people were excited about the fact that I actually filmed a Bricklin. I believe the video actually performed better as well. I did a video a while ago talking about cars I wanted to do car reviews on, and the Bricklin was on that, but it was super cool to simply get to go work with one in any professional level. Next up, and back to John Scotti, but the Maserati MC12. This is also parked right next to the Veneno I talked about earlier, but it was the same thing of, they had the car listed at $5 million American, and I was just allowed to go walk up to it and start filming. And the sheer idea that this car costs that much money, and there's only 50 in the world, and it's so long and it has so many cool edges to it, and the spoiler is actually wider in the entire car, that there's so much to bump into and damage potentially, but just allowed to go up and do it. It was wild. But along with filming it was actually the first time I've ever seen an MC12 in person. So seeing the front tires beyond the mesh in the front fenders, and seeing that there's no actual headlight lenses and the headlights are completely flat and exposed, and just seeing all these little cool details about it was absolutely wild to me. What I never got used to doing these things was if I saw any of these cars in person, out in the wild, I would probably crap my pants. But doing this in Lamborghini Montreal and having all these cars all around you, you kind of lose any sort of realization of, oh, that's $1 million, because, well, that's also $1 million. The thing you're standing next to is $2 million. So you kind of lose that doing this. There's a lot of stepping away, like, oh my god, that just happened. And that Maserati kind of gave me the biggest feeling of that. Next up, we're actually going to another local one, but it was a 0708 Shelby GT500. Now this is owned by a guy on Instagram who ran by the name Bag Snake, and he's also on YouTube as Jay's Life. Go check him out. But it was a really early S197 Shelby GT500 that had a Kenny Bell, I think it was a Kenny Bell supercharger, a lot less exhaust, and a air ride system on it, and it was just such a cool show car. I say show car, he was also pretty ready to beat the snot out of it whenever he wanted. Now we filmed this car at the Ottawa Aviation Museum out in the East End, and we got there, he actually showed me this cool back lot they had where it was just super quiet. We were able to just kind of go do our own thing the whole time. And right as we were wrapping it up, the plan was the last shot we were gonna do was a few revs, and he was gonna do a flyby shot, and then that was it, we were done. And as we were getting all this lined up and ready, this older couple's walking up, so we decided to just kind of chill for a minute, let them go by, because as much as we all kind of want to get these shots, we're not putting anyone in harm's way to do it. And they walk up to us, and they're all over the car. They love it. The two of them have been into motorsports forever. It was just super cool to kind of just stop and chat with this older couple about this muscle car that's sitting there and just racing in general. You never know who you're gonna run into. But again, I believe the car is actually for sale, so if it's still for sale, I'll list the posting, but wild car. Next up, and the last John Scotty car I'm mentioning on the list, but the Lamborghini LP800i. Now, of 112 cars being built for the whole world, John Scotty got 2 of them. One of them was sold before he even got to the dealership. I can't remember the guy's full Instagram name, but I'll put it up here if you want to go check him out. He has a wild collection, and I think the orange Countach he had ended up going back to John Scotty, and I think it's currently for sale. But the one I got to go film was the green car, and it was one of these things where, like, frankly, I didn't love the color of it, but I'm not turning down a Countach. And, like, I didn't love the color, so I was kind of going in with a small mindset of, okay, let's go do this. The video's probably going to perform well. But, like, the more I stared at it, more I just fell in love with it. These cool little details that went back to the 73, 74 Countach prototype. And that was just one of those cars I felt really lucky to actually go film and go be near. That was a really controversial car for a lot of people because it just wasn't the Countach everyone wanted it to be, but it's a really, really cool car nonetheless. And the last one I'm mentioning is actually the second car I ever filmed, and that was a 2022 Acura NSX Type S. Now this one was actually a Camco Acura in Ottawa, and the only car they had, it was one of these things I drove past the dealership a few times, I knew the car was there. But I eventually called them saying, like, hey, I do this, can I come in and film the car? And immediately was, yep, absolutely, come in. And the car was off into a cleaning bay when I got there, like completely out of the way from any sort of customer area. But again, there's, go at it, go check it out, film away. And completely unsupervised with like $350,000 super low production NSX. What got me about that was it was the second car I ever filmed. The first one was my dad's Mustang GT, which has been on the channel more than once now. So going from, not just say like just a Mustang, but a Mustang GT to this ultra low production, very expensive supercar was wild to me. It's a shame those videos are gone because there's a lot of sentimental value to me with those, but life sucks sometimes. Those videos were a lot of fun to do, and I just want to say to anyone who wants to get into those videos, if you're wondering on how to like get these cars and go do it, go contact dealerships, call, see what they do, And like sometimes you're gonna hear no, sometimes you're not gonna be allowed in. But honestly, most of the time, dealerships will let you come in and film things. It's promo for them, it'll help the car sell faster potentially, and people doing private sales will likely be a little bit more skeptical or just not want to do it, which everyone's allowed to say no, that's completely fine. But if you want to try this, message the person or the dealership, ask and see what happens. I want to know, what do you think? Of those 6 cars, which one would you have wanted to see the video on most? And if you happen to be following the old Instagram page, what was your favorite video that I've done? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed what you've seen. I tend to post on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and I'll see you later.